Sup lads, it's your boy, Bandana-Boi, and this was absolute cinema. There's no other way to describe it. Netherlands versus Sweden ends in 5-1, which I don't think tells the full story. Sweden actually played a really good game, but unfortunately the Dutch were just too strong, especially their goalkeeper, Verbruggen. He truly was outstanding. He only conceded one goal, and even then it was because he went out, and at that point Elanga was able to finish it past him. But let's get started. So far in the World Cup, I have been very wary of the first 10 to 15 minutes because most teams play really good in the first 10 to 15 minutes, and then once the adrenaline dump is gone, they start playing worse and worse as the game goes on. However, for this game, thankfully, that was not the case. In the first 15 minutes, two goals were scored. In fact, in the first half, only two goals were scored, both by Brian Brobbery. And those two goals were outstanding. Not in terms of just the finish, because maybe the first one you'd say it was a tap in, but the delivery was really good on both goals. The first goal from the left hand side, Gakpo squares it, and Brian Brobbery is there to convert it. It was really clean, and the thing is, as a striker, to be that one step faster than the defender is so important for you to score those goals. I know we call them tap-ins as if there's no skill involved, but there truly is so much skill when it comes to positioning. And the second goal was even better. Dumfries drives down the right lane and he whips it in, and Brian Browder gets a magnificent touch because it was really a hard angle for him. So for him to be able to touch it and for it to avoid the goalkeeper and go to the left, it was a really good finish. And maybe like 10 or 15 minutes later, Dumfries had the other pass which sadly didn't lead to a goal, but I swear his vision, it was Kevin De Bruyne-esque this match. He had an outstanding game. In fact, most of the Dutch players had an outstanding game. This game was electric from beginning to end. Even Sweden, they never looked like they had their backs against the wall. It seems like it almost just went down to who had the better keeper. Because in my opinion, this game should have ended maybe 5-4, 5-3 if both teams had like a similar level of goalkeeping. But the Dutch proved to have the better goalkeeper and they went through. Sweden won their last game against Tunisia 5-1, and now they've lost against Netherlands 5-1. It's kind of poetic, but at the same time, I think they played a really nice brand of football. So it doesn't tell the full story, and I do feel bad for them. Because at least even if they lost 5-4 or 5-3, it's less humiliating. And in the future, when you look at the score sheet, you might think that they got dominated, but I'll tell you, they were in this game through and through. But unfortunately, the Netherlands were simply just making more with their chances. And the other thing I absolutely loved about this game is the play was so clean during the entire first half. There were no yellow cards and there were two fouls during the entire half. Both teams were not soft whatsoever. You get fouled, you get back up, and you play the game. And it just felt like we went from one counter attack to another. Both teams didn't want to waste no time in the midfield unless it was generating an attack, and they put on a show for the fans because this was by far the most entertaining game of the World Cup so far, and it's definitely gonna be there in the top 5, if not top 3, best games of the World Cup tournament. And then going into the second half, 2 minutes in, almost just like the first goal for the Netherlands, but this time, instead of the first half, it's the second half. Dumfries again down the right hand side. The build up play was amazing. I'm not sure if it was Gravenberch or Somerville, but one of them had like a great skill. He like twisted and turned, and then he laid it for Dumfries. He ran towards it, he crossed it in, and at that point, Gakpo had a pretty easy finish. But the goal as a whole, the build up play, was phenomenal. At that point, Gakpo already had a goal and assist, but he was not done. It was 3-0 to the Netherlands, and he said, you know what? I'm gonna score a bit more. Someone lays the ball off to him, and from outside the box, he cuts to the right and he slots it bottom left. An absolutely great finish, and that put the Netherlands up 4-0, which was very harsh. At that point, finally, Sweden scored their first goal. Isak picks the ball in the midfield, and he gives the through ball to Elanga. Elanga is really fast. He is absolutely rapid. He outpaced all the Dutch defenders and eventually put it past the keeper with a great finish. Even then, Elanga looked electric, going down the right hand side for Sweden. He truly was spectacular, and he even nutmegged Coop Miners, if not mistaken, which was an absolutely nasty skill move. He truly was their saving light. He got them that goal of honor, and unfortunately they couldn't score more, but they truly played well. Isak also had a great finish in like the 84th minute, but unfortunately The Dutch goalkeeper was just too good. Isak literally put it in the top right. There was nothing more he could have done. Great power, great accuracy, but the keeper was just way too aware. He genuinely looked like Ochoa back in like the 2018 World Cup, the 2014 World Cup, and he just put on a masterclass. And I want to shout out a player by the name of Ayari for Sweden. He also played really well. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get a goal, but he tried a couple of long shots and they looked really, really close. Some of them were even on goal, but again, the goalkeeper was just on smoke from the Netherlands side, so he couldn't do anything about that. For the fifth and final goal, which came in the 88th or 89th minute, Somerville, similar to Gakpo, but he was more centered. He cuts in and he slots it bottom left in what was an incredible, incredible finish. He was subbed on at halftime and he did great for the second half that he played, even scoring the last goal for the Netherlands. Unfortunately, a bit later on, he did pick up an injury where he fell and one of the Swedish players accidentally hit him in the face with his knee. So I hope that collision didn't cause anything severe. I hope it's just a minor headache or he has recovered by now. Kudos to both teams. Sweden really don't have to put their heads down. They played great. As long as they can try to get a draw against Japan, they should be making it out of this group and into the next round. So it's not like their dreams are over. They still have 3 points with one game to go. I'm going to be excited to see how they do. The Netherlands have now 4 points, and if they get a draw or a win against Tunisia, they are going to advance the next round. So I almost want to say it's guaranteed, but they tell you to never underestimate your opponents. With that being said, this was truly a spectacular game, and I had so much fun watching it. I kept talking about the Brazil versus Morocco game, but this was truly levels above that. So tell me if y'all had any other game that was as entertaining as this. With that being said, lads, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Tell me what y'all think. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And that's all from me, lads.